Peace, peace. Back with another video. This is Kamar Son. I know it's been a minute. Back this up. But today I'm gonna talk about just a minimalist setup for music production. I know it's been a minute since I did a video. This is a saturated market, but I feel like I don't see a lot of off-grid producers talking about, music production. So, you know, I'm gonna bring my uniqueness to the table and see what happens. Build this channel. I'm definitely qualified. I feel like with music production, music in general has been is life. So I'm really want to talk about the minimalist setup. You really don't need a whole lot in today's time to make good music. There are plenty of options out there. Really, I bought this keyboard off of Temu for like $40. It's like a $80 to $100 keyboard, but I got it. This was the first thing I bought off of Temu, so they give you a big discount. So I got it for like $40. It's Bluetooth MIDI, which for this price range, some of the higher end devices don't have Bluetooth MIDI. It syncs smooth perfectly with the phone. You have chord mode where you can set your chords, major, minor. You can set your, triad, seventh, ninth, and you can do random chords. And it also has arpeggiator mode. So pretty neat for the price range. It works. It does what it's supposed to do. And I got a tablet off of Temu that I'm not too impressed with, basically just because of the fact that it's 32-bit. I didn't even know that. I didn't even see that in the description that it was 32-bit because Zen Beats, I mentioned this before, Zen Beats has a program, has a virtual instrument called ZC1, and you need 64-bit. Your graphics need to be at least 64-bit or it won't even open. And ZC1 is packed with so many sounds. That alone is the selling point for Zen Beats, because I believe Juno and a couple other expensive devices use that platform, use the ZC1. It's built off the same, So I got a bundle set up for the headphones. I got a headphones, a Mackie, headphones, speaker, these multimedia speakers, which I did a video on, and the microphone. And the microphone has a built-in interface. So now I don't have to, that's another device that might need another plug. So as a minimalist off-grid, the least amount of devices that need to be plugged in, the better. So that's pretty much the setup. And you don't need a whole lot. I got a laptop with an older version of FL Studio because it's an older laptop. But you don't need to spend $2,000, $1,000 just for one device, especially if you're not a professional. If you're not at the professional level, I don't see getting professional equipment, honestly. Now, unless you have aspirations of being a professional, and you would think that that's why you would get something like that. But you'd be surprised at how many people have no aspirations on being a professional with music production, yet they have equipment, high-end equipment. The producer makes the equipment doesn't make the producer. If you can do more with less, then you're already winning. And I can right now say that I can challenge most producers with my setup versus a more expensive setup. I'm not saying that I'm going to knock them out the box, but I'm not saying they're going to knock me out of the box either. Because I have an ear in the music production skills. And you can make a beat on anything once you get once you learn the fundamentals, the skills. You can take your knowledge and transport the knowledge onto other, means, whatever it is. You should be able to use a phone, a tablet, an MPC, a laptop, a MacBook, and be able to make some beats. I worked with Logic for a while, and Logic, for some people, that was a learning curve at the time. Should I believe before it was, I might have been on Logic 7 before it was even, yeah, Logic 10 before X came out. Don't mean I'm a you know super professional at it, but I've worked with it. I've worked with a lot of different dolls. You know, Pro Tools. I went to Full Sail for a bachelor's degree in music production. I didn't finish. I had financial aid issues, but I went through almost a year. So I did a Pro Tool class. I did a Logic class. I did a Garage Band class, music theory, those type of things. And you know, I learned some things, and I also learned that school is not necessarily a necessity either. You just got to have a passion and being willing to work at it. It's almost like kung fu with music production. You really got to practice every day. You got to practice every day. If you don't practice every day, you're going to lose it. And music is changing so much. If you take 5 years off, it's a different setup. And like that was my problem too as a producer, not having the ability to change as the times change, wanting to stay in a certain particular format, and that don't always work. I'm saying there's the boom bap that sound of old is still alive today, but it's still a little bit different than it was back then. But let alone like double time and trap beats, it's just we're in a different era right now of music production. So I believe that's more important than buying the professional equipment, learning how to make beats, work at being a professional, and then you'll smoothly transition, into, fire beats once you learn the fundamentals of what's going on. And some stuff takes, getting away from all of the music and actually like studying stuff, reading and learning, a little music theory, just enough to get you by. I'm not, you don't have to immerse yourself in it, but enough to get you by, at least to know what key you're in, or, what sounds are in the key, and just know that it's important to sync up stuff in a key. If you're in a particular key, you want to stay in that key for the most part. You can borrow keys, and that's another topic that you don't have to totally remain in one key, but for the most part you do. If that makes sense. But like I said, a bunch of equipment is not necessary in the beginning. The fundamentals are necessary in the beginning. Music production is arrangement. How to arrange music is so important, because then you can take loops. You don't have to make all your beats from scratch. You can take loops in the beginning and learn arrangement from those loops. And then after you really know how to arrange, then it don't matter. You don't have to use loops all the time. I like to use a combination of it. I like to use loops. I like to play the keyboard. I like to just mix it up, use a combination if I can. Even if I'm using a loop and I'm just layering subtle sounds over top of it. Something where I'm putting my touch and my hands into it helps. But to make a beat from scratch, my thing is just make the beat hot. It shouldn't matter what process you use as long as the beat is hot. It's not cheating, because music samples and loops, it's pretty much it came from samples. You know what I mean? And so samples, loops, people weren't playing the keyboard back in the day, so they were taking samples that was actually like instrumental samples that are now loops. So it's really whatever works for you, as long as the beats come out hot. If they come out not, then maybe you want to work with some loops, royalty free if you can. Um, Also with loops, I like to have the stems because I don't like all of the sounds to be all matched together, all mixed together. Even my drum loops that I use, I like to use the stems. I want to have the hi hats. I want to have the snares. I want to have the kicks separate. It's just like, because sometimes when you take a loop, there's always a sound in there that you just can do without. And is that part of the plan for some of these loops, especially when you get loops off of the dolls, just so that you can work a bit and actually, instead of taking everything as is and just putting it up, you know, um, you can chop loops down, drum loops or what have you. You can chop them down, but I'd rather have the stems. I'd rather have the stems, and I also would like to have the MIDI version of. Now you ain't gonna find the MIDI in stems in most cases. The MIDI, it'll just be that sample in MIDI. But you can pick what instrument you want. From that point, you can pull notes out, add notes. You can add your creativity. There's nothing wrong with that, adding your creativity to the mix. Um, you know, but I'm not going to talk too long. I was just talking about a minimalist system, when and being off grid. You may lack the power. I lack the power to be, just to plug in all these multi devices. The least devices, like I said, I have to plug up, the better. The more, wireless I can go, the easier it is for me to work day and night, because with my particular solar setup, I'm good all day long. I'm good. I'm just not good at night. So I need more batteries, and that's really the key to it. You need more batteries to hold you down during the night hours. Um, but that's it. I just want to cover the basics on a minimalist system and just to encourage those producers that are out there that might not be working with much but still have the creative ability. Don't let anything stop you in this time that we're in, because there's really no excuses. There's you can everybody got a phone, so that's enough. A smartphone is enough to make beats. And I didn't start out with the keyboard. I started out with just the phone. And I had a speaker. I had a JBL speaker. So I guess I'd say I started out with that. And then the phone, like a decent phone. I would say that. You do want a halfway decent phone, depending on what program you're working with. But that's it. More videos coming. And I'm going to just talk about being off grid. So some things are going to be off music topic, but it's still going to be off grid topics. Things like solar panel set up, energy, shelter, water storage, just, things important off grid necessities. But that's it. So I'm going to talk to y'all later. Peace.